Okay, I think we can start, Honorable Minister. Okay, it's more official, it's recorded, you know. And I will welcome you in the ministry virtually. Honorable Minister Mkaka, and dear colleagues in Lilongwe and colleagues here in Berlin. This is a very special meeting because of our celebration of our 60th birthday of the Ministry, or the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development this year. And during these past 60 years, German development cooperation has traveled a long way, and most of this journey was also together with Malawi and your country. Thank you for taking part in this event and in this meeting officially, and maybe also for a short exchange about the situation in Malawi. I'm very interested in, and I'm here responsible for the central, eastern and southern regions in Africa. Maybe a few remarks for your understanding. The ministry began in 1961 with a staff of 34, and today we have more than 1,200 people working for the ministry in Bonn and in Berlin, and supported by our missions and German embassies. Since the beginning, the ministry has been called Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. It was never called aid or assistance, what we have mentioned with development cooperation. But of course, when we first began, the mindset was more about assistance or catch-up development. The focus of our approach today is very clearly on working together as partners. In my wording, I like to speak about companions. Companions means in German Weggefährten. That is very interesting, for we have to work together on rocky streets, on rocky roads. Maybe we are going wrong not in the right direction or in the right direction. We have to discuss the best way for this partnership and this journey. I would have, I would like to mention all the new topics, digital technology, climate protection and adaptation to climate change. That was not foreseeable when we started in 1964. And so we have a quite different portfolio with your country and with our partners in different countries. Let me start with Malawi, and you are, as a partner country of the first hour. That is why we would like to commemorate this PMZ birthday using the format of this exchange with you. The friendship and shared history between our two countries officially began in 1964, and with the opening of the first German consulate in Blantyre, Malawi declared its independence in the same year. Our two governments have been working together in the field of development since the birth hour of the Republic of Malawi. Initially, German support for Malawi was in the form of medical equipment for hospitals in Zomba and Salima, and technical know-how in the health sector and in agriculture. So that was the history, and Honorable Minister, if you look back to this 57 years, what does this early start of our friendship mean for you, and what do you associate with German development cooperation? Are there specific characteristics? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think before I answer that question, I will give my statement. And then I'll take the question, what does this relationship between German and Malawi mean? And to us as a government. It gives me great pleasure to interact with you, Dr. Nooke, as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. Malawi is greatly honored to be among Germany's first partner countries. And Germany is not just a partner to Malawi in development, but a friend. And thus, we also celebrate friendly relations between the two countries, dating as far back as our independence in 1964. I am therefore pleased to be engaged in this important conversation with you as we look back at the successful partnership between Malawi and Germany, as well as looking ahead to a continued fruitful partnership. Coming to your question, let me say that German development cooperation represents a strong partnership between Germany and its partner countries in achieving socio-economic growth and addressing global challenges that affect the quality of life. For instance, in Malawi, German cooperation has been key in facilitating Malawi's development agenda through poverty reduction as well as inclusive and sustainable growth. Germany remains a key partner in tackling development challenges faced by Malawi and other least developed countries. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, thank you for these kind words. My first and unique visit to Lilongwe and your country, Malawi, was in 2010. After G8 at that time, not G7, G8 summit in Muskoka in Canada, and there was a program regarding infant and maternal mortality in the health sector. And that was the issue also in the beginning. We started our development cooperation in the health sector, and this is still at the heart of our cooperation in the time being. The significant progress in the health sector in particular is often held up in the BMZ as an example. For instance, what I mentioned, the progress made in reducing infant and maternal mortality and the improved access to self-determined family planning. We are proud to be able to support Malawi on this path and also to follow new paths together, for example, the introduction of digital methods in the health sector. Another special feature of German-Malawian cooperation is that since 1980, German doctors have regularly spent time working in Malawian hospitals in order to support the clinical work in the hospitals and the training of medical personnel. This work often leads to lifelong friendships, and the experts continue to be involved with Malawi in a voluntary capacity for many years after their return to Germany. What do you see as the most important development progress that Malawi has achieved in the last 60 years? What contribution do you feel German development cooperation has made to that progress? Is there any kind of specific contribution what you want to mention, or which kind of understanding of German cooperation do you have?
Well, let me begin by saying that I think we can tell the story of the impact of what Germany is doing in Malawi far much better than you would do, because we have felt the impact and we can tell precisely what the interventions have done to us. To begin with, the German agencies, well, the German agencies of GIZ that have been in operation in Malawi since 1998, KFW, have been instrumental in supporting Malawi's development goals, Vision 2020 and Agenda 2063, and Sustainable Development Agenda 2030. Some of the initiatives include poverty alleviation, and under this, the German government committed to supporting the government of Malawi with 45.3 million euros, approximately 37.3 billion Malawi kwacha, for implementation of various development programs aiming towards poverty alleviation and socio-economic development. The approach of the government of the German engagement in Malawi is focused on capacity development of the public financial and economic management institutions to make them more accountable, transparent, and efficient. German technical cooperation supports our institutions along the entire budget cycle of public financial management, including budget planning and forecasting, budget implementation and oversight, and control by internal and external bodies. In health system strengthening, German cooperation has focused on delivering higher and quality maternal and antenatal health services in targeted districts. This has been achieved through better access and use of data and a better distribution of qualified clinical and nursing staff in maternal and antenatal health care. There is another area, social cash transfer. KFW has been participating in a social program for poor families in Malawi since 2012, and the recipients receive regular and unconditional cash payments that secure their livelihoods. Every two months, households that meet certain criteria, such as extreme need and limited working capacity, receive an average of 17 euros. This enables them to finance the most basic necessities and prevents them from sliding into extreme poverty. An impact study has shown that the program is having positive effects on the health, diet, and education attainment of the target group, thereby increasing their chances of being able to earn their own living in future. Supporting teacher development and school health nutrition through the Ministry of Education. That's another area. The government of Germany is helping the Malawi government to upgrade the country's teacher training program, in particular in the subjects of mathematics and teaching techniques. As part of this effort, curricula are being overhauled and new teaching materials developed. Germany is also providing support for new classrooms and accommodation for teaching staff. Support in the transfrontier conversation. The project is supporting the protection of wildlife through the development of border zone around Nooke and Wasmarsh. The project also supported the Malawi government in coming up with the amendment of the National Parks and Wildlife Act, which was passed in 2017. And the sixth area is support towards humanitarian assistance. The German government has provided humanitarian support to Malawi towards the fight against COVID-19 pandemic and other natural disasters like Cyclone Idai. Seventh, more income and rural employment. Through the GIZ, Farmer Business School approach has trained over 22,000 smallholder farmers on farm economics, agribusiness, and marketing skills. Many participants have introduced new farm business management practices such as record keeping and gross margin analysis. In addition, through this approach, almost 90,000 smallholder farmers have been reached and trained in the proper use and application of a set of innovation in agribusiness. Eighth, support towards aquaculture. The German government is supporting Malawi's aquaculture sector. Through this support, it is expected that the productivity of 3,000 aquaculture enterprises will increase by 50%, thereby creating 150 new jobs in aquaculture value chain. I think let me stop there.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. You have mentioned all the figures and what we have done in the past together. That's very interesting. But I'd like to repeat one impression. You mentioned the impact of our cooperation is what you have not only recognized, but also, we have felt the impact. What is really the impact on the ground and among the ordinary people? That's quite interesting, and we have a lot of sophisticated mechanism to measuring the impact and to conduct our implementation agencies, GIZ, the German International Corporation, and our development bank KfW. So but maybe it's much easier to speak to the people and listening a little bit more what is really the impact or what is really necessary or what we have to do. That's the best way for the government, not only in Lilongwe, but also in Berlin and Bonn. Thank you for this, I think, important remark. Today, we also want to speak a little bit about the future, and we want to look forward. You mentioned the pandemic. Hopefully, it will be not over, but we will find a way not get rid of the virus, but to live with the virus and have a kind of more normality in Europe and African countries. I would like to mention your new government. Congratulations. The well-organized and peaceful rerun of the presidential elections last year confirmed Malawi's reputation as a peaceful country with a good track record on democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, compared with other countries in the region. And if I'm right informed, you're also one of the development and reform-oriented ministers, and that's good for our cooperation, I think. In order to further strengthen democratic development in Malawi, in addition to working on other cooperation topics, we want to work with you on promoting transparency and accountability of government actions. That was agreed at the last government consultations in February 2021. The Malawi Vision 2063, not the Agenda 2063 of the African Union, but your own Vision 2063 will give us guidance for the new area of cooperation. And maybe one more question is, what do you see, Excellency, as the most important challenge for Malawi in these areas, and where could German development cooperation offer support?
Well, yes, maybe before I take that question again, just to say that you did indicate that you have sophisticated ways of measuring the impact. I would challenge you that those would be quantitative metrics, but there will be qualitative metrics that your sophisticated methods will miss in the process. And I think Malawians are still better pleased to tell this story. So we really appreciate the impact is huge, much more than the quantitative measures or metrics can do. Talking about what I see as a major challenge, let me say, I think we still talk about capacity. Because I think, in my view, what is important is that the Malawi should, the people of Malawi government should have that capacity to deliver on their own and stuff like that. So I think what is key is making sure that that capacity is built through the different initiatives in health, in education, in agriculture, and all that. So I think the future should really be to look at what measures should be put in place to make sure that that capacity is actually built.
Yeah, we are constantly striving within the German government to make our cooperation more effective. We have worked closely with Malawi for 57 years of the past 60 years of German development cooperation, and looking ahead to the next few decades, do you have any recommendation, maybe one sentence, for making German development cooperation more supportive for your government or for the people in Malawi? And maybe does it mean the same, or which different aspects are the challenges for the government and for the people? What do you think? To understand a little bit better what is really going on the ground, what is really an urgent issue for the people and for the government. Sometimes we have cooperation and many things are prepared by the Westerners, by our ministry here in Berlin, but after 60 years maybe we should learn a little bit for our new government what is necessary and helpful change in our development cooperation. Not because of our domestic debates here in Berlin and in Europe, but because of the needs on the ground in our partner countries.
Yeah, interesting. You see, this relationship spans a number of years. We've worked together hand in hand. And I do believe and trust that the true spirit behind the assistance, the initiatives by the German government is to make sure that the Malawi is able to stand on her own, that people are taken out of extreme poverty, and the government is able to support its own programs. And I will go back to what I said, that I think through all this and in all this, the expectation is that capacity is built in people, in government, to be able to support their own programs. And I know that many governments have moved away from direct support direct budgetary support to supporting programs that have a direct impact on the common man. But I thought that, I think government being the primary vehicle that is used to deliver goods and services to the common man, there is still need for governments, and that includes the German government, to work side by side, hand in hand with government Malawi. It is through programs such initiatives that capacity will be built in government and capacity will be built in the people. At the end of it all, both the German government, the people of Germany, and Malawi, the government of Malawi, they have one common goal, that is to serve the common man on the street, in the village, build their capacity to make sure that they can walk on their own, they can walk tall, and be self-reliant as human beings, in the process maintaining their dignity.
That's a very good last word for the official recording. But I think it's really important to have the focus on the people in the streets or in their villages, in rural areas. Often development cooperation is taking place in capitals and in hotel rooms and lecturing from one side to another. So that should be over, and we will try our best also in establishing a new government with maybe some new aspects of development cooperation. But what you have mentioned regarding the educational programs, Minister Gerd Müller here in the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, he has focused on education, and 25% of the entire budget has been used for education, and that means not only school and university, it means primary, the vocational training, and what we can do for the private sector, that this kind of, I call it indigenous growth in your country, with the people on the ground and subjects of their own development and their own community developments, that they can do more for them, for themselves, and not everything has to be triggered or overviewed by governments. So we have to give more options, more capacity and tools to the people, and that will change, maybe, hopefully, the economic development. The Chancellor said one interesting word: we need economic development instead of development cooperation. That's a wording which is not really very familiar in this ministry, because of the name is development cooperation, but in the end it's about economic development, it's about the private sector, and it's about this kind of indigenous growth also in your country. And I hope that our cooperation in the next 60 years will not be necessary. Maybe we will make important steps forwards in the next 10-20 years, so that your vision of Malawi 2063 will be a reality, or will become. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for being part of this kind of celebration, preparation of our anniversary, when I think we will celebrate this in October this year.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to more interactions with the German government as we move our partnership to the next level.
Is there any, for the recording, my concluding question should be for you, what message would you like to send to the BNZ on its 60th birthday?
Malawi is grateful to the government and the people of the Federal Republic of Germany through BNZ for the unwavering support for the past 60 years. In all these years, BNZ has played a vital role in partnering with Malawi in its effort to eradicate poverty and achieve sustainable development. Through this partnership, Malawi has managed to improve the quality of lives of the population. BNZ's support has also played a crucial role in Malawi's fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The value of this partnership is immeasurable, and as we move in the next phase and to the next phase, Malawi looks forward to an enhanced partnership with BNZ in order to achieve our Agenda 2063 and 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. I wish the BNZ a successful 60th anniversary.
Thank you very much for this talk. An exchange like this is a very valuable issue for us, especially with a long-standing partner like Malawi. And thank you very much for being part of this exchange. Maybe I or my colleagues, others will have the chance to travel. In the last 1.5 years, I haven't traveled. My last visit was in Tanzania in February 2020. So I hope this pandemic will not let us to another year of virtual meetings and only virtual meetings. Sometimes it's quite interesting and it's easy, but on the other hand, I like to speak to people and have this face-to-face conversations. Thank you very much, and maybe you will see that you or we can travel to Africa or to Europe. All the best for you and your government, and especially for the people of Malawi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.